Alright, so what's up everyone, now welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about progression in Call of Duty Vanguard. Now ever since Modern Warfare, we've seen progression being tied to the seasonal cycle and drifting more and more away from the beloved OG Prestige system. Now in this video I want to talk about what kind of system we could see in Vanguard and how it will tie all of these games together, since you can progress the same level across all current COD games. And just before we get into the video, if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Upon Vanguard's release, I'm going to be going straight for the Mastery Camo as soon as possible, so I'll basically be daily uploading until I get it done. And until then, I have a good amount of content planned to keep us going until the launch of Vanguard, including a full Cold War review. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to releasing that video, and I'm hoping that you guys can stick around to see it as well. So if that does sound interesting to you, then consider subscribing to the channel. But with all that out of the way, we're just going to get right into the video. Now, before we talk about what kind of system we could see in Vanguard, I want to go sort of back in time and look at the systems we've seen for the previous two games, which is obviously Modern Warfare and Cold War. So we're going to start off with Modern Warfare. Now, Modern Warfare's system was very bare bones. You had the first 55 ranks, which would never reset, and once you got to 55, you would never go below 55. Once you got past level 55, you would enter the officer ranks, which would let you get to 155, and you would unlock a new challenge each level. So essentially, you would get up to 100 challenges each season to complete. Now, these officer ranks would reset every season, so you would go from level 155 back down to 56 every season. You had no choice in doing that whatsoever. And what made this system very unrewarding and sort of boring, a lot of people felt, it was really easy to get to level 155. Like, it would take most people like a week or two to get to that level. All of that XP you earned after that was just sort of left into a void. Most of the challenges in the officer rank system as well was very passive. You know, there were challenges like get kills with assault rifles and, you know, all these other random stuff. And alongside them, there were also the really hard, annoying, out-of-the-way challenges. Like, I remember there was one with Warzone where you had to buy back like 40 teammates or something like that, and me and a couple of my friends just boosted to get it because it was just that much of a pain in the ass. Like I said, once the season was over, you would get reset back down to 56, and not only that, you could not progress that season's officer challenges anymore. So if you didn't complete those officer challenges for that season, you would not get the emblem for that season, and you would never get an opportunity to do that again. This is honestly the most flawed system we have ever seen in COD. I know we've only seen a couple, but this is by far the worst one. Nobody likes it, and it's just an extremely flawed system, and it should never return again. Now, Cold War system is a lot more in-depth, and it's a little bit more permanent than Modern Warfare's, but like I said, it follows a sort of similar style. So obviously, once again, you had the first 55 ranks where you just unlock like creator class stuff, but then you would enter the prestiges. So you'd get reset back down to level 1, but you would be prestige 1, and every 50 levels you would enter a new prestige. Now, every season, you could only progress a certain amount of prestiges. So, Season 0, when the game first came out, you could only get up to Prestige 3. And every one after that let you progress 4 prestiges until Season 6, where you be able to get to Prestige 27. Let's say you were fully caught up with the prestiges. Once you hit level 200 for the season, you would unlock a star for your ribbon, which would indicate you're caught up on all the prestiges. And alongside this, you can't prestige anymore that season. Like I said, unless you're behind on prestiges, that's it, you're done for that season. However, you can get to level 1000 every single season, which didn't really do anything for you apart from give you prestige keys, which can be used in the prestige shop, but it did tell you that you got to level 1000 every season. So for those massive grinders out there, you could basically get to level 1000 6 times in a row, whereas in the past with the old prestige system, you could only do it once. As well as all of this, officer challenges returned, but in a lot more of a consumer friendly fashion. So there would only be 20 challenges every season, and once you unlocked the challenge, so once you got to the respective level for the challenge, you could progress it at any time, unlike Modern Warfare. So let's say in Season 1 you get to level 100, so you'd unlock 10 of the challenges. You could do those 10 challenges now if you wanted to, but obviously the season is over, so if you didn't play then, and you didn't get to that level, you can't do it. If you do all of the officer challenges, you get a calling card, unlike with Modern Warfare where you get an emblem. I don't really know which one's better, they're both kind of crappy. And overall, you can see your progress on one sort of screen. So I'll show that on screen, obviously. This shows all of your levels across every single season. You can see your stars on each ribbon. So it tells you, you know, if you got to level 200 that season or not. As you can see, I am all caught up on mine. I've got 5 stars on my ribbon in Season 5, so this means that I'm all caught up on prestiges. Now, overall, this system is definitely not as bad as Modern Warfare's system. Now, it's up for debate whether it's as good as the old prestige system. I know there's a lot of people out there who prefer the old prestige system, and I'm sort of on the fence. I mean, I like the old prestige system. It feels a lot more permanent. You can do what you want when you want. It certainly has its benefits, but at the same time, I think this system is a lot better for sort of keeping player attention across the life cycle of the game, because you could sort of get bored just going for level 1000. Once you hit Master Prestige, there's sort of no point in playing the game. But if you are sort of forced to get to level 200 every season and get a cool star and all that stuff, then I feel like it gives a bit more of an incentive to come back every season. This is probably the best middle ground we're going to get. I don't think we're going to see the old prestige system ever come back, but this is the best middle ground that we have. So now that we've discussed all of the previous systems, I want to talk about how Vanguards will work. I have a couple theories, and I also have a suggestion that I think could make this whole progression ordeal a lot better, and I think a lot of people would prefer this. It's not exactly to do with the system itself, but more so how it works with Warzone. The thing to keep in mind is that all of these COD games will most likely stay interconnected with their leveling system, and like I said previously, the seasonal prestiges will most likely stay. I don't think they're going to bring back the old prestige system anytime soon, since Activision wants that sort of unified experience with across all the games. So my first theory is prestiges could continue from Prestige 27 in Cold War into Vanguard. So that would mean when you first hit a new prestige in Vanguard, you'll be Prestige 28 if you're all caught up on Cold War's prestiges. This would essentially mean that we have 27 new prestiges every COD game. So in like 5 years time, we'll have like over 150 prestige. You'll be like prestige 150 something, which sounds insane. And I think this system is probably the most flawed here. It seems very lazy, uninspired. You know, it seems like they're just sort of slapping the numbers on there and not really thinking about it much. They're just like, oh, we'll just continue from the last game. It seems very boring. There is all this interconnectivity, and I feel like Activision wouldn't want to sort of disregard people's last year of progression, so they might say this is the best solution to just carry on the prestiges, which I personally think shouldn't happen. Another thing that could happen is the prestiges could reset every game, meaning we would have to get to Prestige 7 every year, and our previous progress would pretty much be wiped, just like Modern Warfare. If you don't know, you can't see your officer challenges anymore in Modern Warfare. You have the only thing that resembles it is the emblem that you unlocked, but you can't actually see the menus with all the ribbons and stuff. If it isn't just completely removed from the game on Modern Warfare, it'll probably be hidden behind a ton of sub-menus that only you can view for yourself, so it just sort of makes it unimportant really. But this seems more likely than the previous system, because sure, it'd be a middle finger to our previous years of progress, and you may be saying that that always happened with old COD games. You know, a new one would come out and you sort of forget about the old one, but you can't really compare these new COD games to the old ones, because they are nowhere near as connected as they are these days. Because obviously with Modern Warfare and Cold War alone, they have the same leveling system. You can see in Modern Warfare, you can see Cold War's leveling system, you can see all the prestiges and stuff. The interconnectivity is like we've never seen before, so you can't really compare these new games to the old games. Also, with the old games, your progress was always there. You just had to load up the game, you know, look at a menu, and your progress was there. But with Modern Warfare, all of your progress has been thrown away. The only way you can look at what you did for that game is in the emblem section, where it's just mushed in there with all the other emblems that, you know, there's thousands of emblems in there, and you have to sort of scavenge through them to find your emblem, and you can only use one at a time. So it's just, like I said, a massive middle finger to the fan base, you know, the people who like to grind for these things. Now I want to talk about my suggestion for this. Most likely we're going to be sticking with this seasonal prestige system, so just keep that in mind with this suggestion. I think it would make a lot of sense if progression was only tied between the current COD and Warzone. So when Vanguard integrates with Warzone, you will not be able to progress the Cold War system in Warzone anymore, and you can only do that in Cold War. However, with Vanguard, you can level it up in Warzone or Vanguard. So in that case, when Modern Warfare 2 comes out in 2022 and that integrates with Warzone, you can only progress Modern Warfare in Warzone, and Vanguard's progression will only be in Vanguard, and it will basically be kicked out of Warzone. That way, with Cold War, there will be 27 prestiges to get, so maybe you just bought the game, you know, maybe you buy a game a couple weeks from now, and all 27 prestiges are out there to get. You can just go ahead and do that in Cold War, but you can't do it in Warzone. Maybe they'll alter the way that the level 1000 thing will work as well. Maybe, you know, you can get to level 10,000 or something, and then that progress will only be shown and accessible in Cold War. But with Vanguard, it will be connected with Warzone until the new game comes out. Maybe something to think about as well in Warzone is you could have a sort of Hall of Fame where you can view Modern Warfare's officer challenges. You can see the ribbons for each season. With Cold War's prestige system, you can see every season what level you got to. And whatever Vanguard system you can see, which will most likely be the progression, you know, the prestige system, you can see that as well. There's sort of this Hall of Fame for all of the games post Modern Warfare, which I think would be really cool. Now, with Modern Warfare still being on the same client as Warzone, I don't think this will happen because I feel like Modern Warfare and Warzone's progression system will always be tied together until they're on a separate application. So I feel like Modern Warfare will always be connected to the new COD in some way, unless they just sort of, you know, just slice it and just sort of leave them alone now. But that's all I have to say for today's video. I mean, let me know what you think down in the comments below with this whole progression thing. It's mind-boggling to me. I have no idea how they're going to do it. It's just insane to me, especially with the whole interconnectivity. It just sounds crazy. So that's going to do it for today's video. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you are new around here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.